If you love to color stamped images but don't always want to use black inks, I've got a technique to share with you. Hi, this is Sage Kimball and I'm the Mad Stamper with another technique video for card makers and paper crafters. When I created this card, I wanted to watercolor the image, but I wanted to use fresh fig ink for the outline. I'm pleased with how the watercoloring turned out. I promised a video and here it is. I'm going to show you how I colored this version in fall colors. And this time I'm going to cut out the image instead of masking it, as I did on this card. I've stamped the image on shimmery white cardstock with Cajun Craze ink. I have a little dish of water and a paper towel. And I have Cajun Craze, crushed curry, and old olive ink pads. I'm going to use an aqua painter, but I'm not filling the barrel because I want to be able to control how much water I add more precisely. So I get it wet and wipe it on this towel a bit. Then I'll start moving the ink of the outlines with the tip of my aqua painter. And this will act kind of like a watercolor wash on the flower petals, because it's going to make a light layer of color. This is a really imprecise process. You'll get a different result each time you do it, but you'll come to learn how you can combine colors for some really interesting effects. Now I'm going to add crushed curry. When I'm working with the inks, I just take a little ink off the edge of the stamp pad, and that way I get nice rich color. I'm just going to add some of this yellow, mostly on the top of the petals. This will give me some nice shading and color variation. And you can see I'm not being very careful about where the color lands. Now I'll take some Cajun Craze ink and I'll start adding it along the contour lines of the petals. This technique works really well with any stamp that has a lot of detail lines like this. If my brush is a bit wet, the color will spread out like this. And if it's more dry, it will give more distinct brush strokes. Nice thing about watercoloring is it gets to be informal. With the leaves, I'm going to be more careful not to spread the Cajun Craze ink around. So I pick up a little of the old olive on my brush and stay in the lines as best I can. If the olive mixes with the Cajun Craze a little bit at different spots, that's okay. It just adds to that feeling of fall colors. But for the most part, I'm trying to avoid moving my brush across those lines. The reason I like using shimmery white instead of watercolor paper for this is that it's smoother and a little thinner than watercolor paper. So I get a well-stamped image even with this fine line detail in the center. It's easier to cut out, and I'm not getting any pilling of the cardstock because shimmery white cardstock handles the water quite well. So that's all the color I'm going to add now, because I'm going to cut these parts I didn't color. I'm going to cut them off when I cut it out. Next thing I do is take the fresh fig marker and just add some color to the center of the flower. And I don't have to stay in any lines here. I can just kind of do some little circular motions with the brush tip of the marker. And that's the technique. It's very simple, but very impressive. I hope you enjoy using it in your craft room and come up with some beautiful watercolored images on your cards. Thanks for watching. Please like this video, share it with your friends, and leave me a comment. For more inspiration and instructions, be sure to sign up for my newsletter at www.stampingmadly.com. Visit me on Facebook and Pinterest, and subscribe to the Mad Stamper YouTube channel now.